Honored NatCon guests, once more, welcome to the 15th Annual SVA Honors Luncheon sponsored by Boeing. Please welcome to the stage Student Veteran of the Year finalist Kyle Schrader of New York University for the POW MIA ceremony.
Good afternoon. As you entered the room today, you may have noticed a small table in a place of honor. It is set for one. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our profession of arms are missing from our midst. They're commonly called POWs or MIAs, but we call them brothers, sisters, and siblings. They're unable to be here with us today, so we remember them. This table set for one is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his oppressors. Remember, the tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond through the country's call to arms. Remember, the single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep the faith, awaiting their return. Remember, the yellow ribbon stands for the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of the thousands who demand with unyielding determination a proper accounting of those who are not among us tonight. Remember, the candle. The candle is lit, symbolizing the upward reach of their unconquerable spirit. Remember, a slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate. Remember, there is salt upon the bread plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. Remember, the glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us this night. Remember, the chair. The chair is empty. They are not here. Remember, all of you who served with them and called them comrades, who depended upon their might and aid, and relied upon them, for surely they have not forsaken you. Remember. Remember until the day they come home. Remember. And now, for a moment of silence to remember the student veterans who have made the ultimate sacrifice and are no longer with us. And lastly, another moment of silence for everyone in the SVA community we have lost the last year. Thank you.
NatCon attendees, please welcome our 7-time returning host for SVA Honors from Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, USA's Graceland, and NBC's Law and Order SVU, Jamie Gray Hyder.
What's going on, everyone? I am so honored to be here joining you for my 7th year as your NatCon host. Surely you'll realize you're making a mistake eventually, but I think that my husband is growing jealous of our relationship. 2022 was a doozy. It was a rebuilding year for me. At the end of 2021, I finished my role on Law & Order SVU, and in 2022 found myself with a lot of free time and a lot of self-doubt. Like most people, my eyes were glued to the TV as the coverage of the Ukrainian conflict ramped up. I watched as thousands of displaced Ukrainians were fleeing their homes to find what they hoped would be temporary asylum from the violence. As with many global conflicts and humanitarian disasters, we civilians observe these tragedies at a distance, so far removed from any solutions. We empathize with the victims, our hearts break for them, but we feel helpless and unable to soothe their pain and our own uneasiness. As I sat in my discomfort, I began to ask myself, are there ways that I can contribute? What would my student veteran family do? They would educate themselves on the problem. They would organize their ideas and activate them within the community in need. So that's what I did. My quest led me to an organization I had donated to in the past, the World Central Kitchen. The organization provides meals to those in need-stricken areas throughout the globe. Now, in the past, you could find their activations following natural disasters such as hurricanes and earthquakes, but the Ukrainian conflict, for the first time, placed them in the middle of a war zone. As I saw the volunteer requests come in for their Polish border program, it hit me. I had the opportunity to put my money where my mouth is. I had the time, I had the means, and I had the willingness. Suddenly, my perceived barriers to entry were gone. So within 5 days, I swear I'm not going to cry this early. I bet my husband $20 I'd make it. Within 5 days, I was on a plane to Krakow en route to Przemysl, Poland, which is 8 miles east of the Ukrainian border. I spent the next week peeling thousands of pounds of potatoes and carrots and distributing meals at refugee crossings along the Polish-Ukrainian border. The experience was heartbreaking and uplifting at the same time. Selfishly, it provided me with a project and work that in ways felt more fulfilling than my career. Selflessly, I was able to provide a human connection and warmth to those fleeing their homes in fear. It was life-changing. While I will never know what it's like to experience war firsthand or to be isolated from my loved ones for months on end, as many of you have, I can tell you that this experience taught me a few things that I think some of you can relate to. I learned what it felt like to be the first kind face someone sees when they're going through hell. Damn it. Yeah! I just don't want to have to pay him $20. I learned that even in the throes of self-pity, there is great fulfillment in putting others first. And I learned that a life in service to others is a life in service to ourselves. Now, all of you understand these ideas in deeper ways than I ever could. Everyone in this room, God damn, get it together. Everyone in this room leads by example on a daily basis, and I want you to know that your impact on me doesn't end when we leave this room. We are here today to honor that leadership and to recognize a few of your peers who have gone above and beyond. As usual, we have a very robust event planned for you today with special guests and honorees to inspire you and entertain. But unlike other years, today we also celebrate 15 years of SVA greatness on the shoulders of giants. Thank you all for making the time to be here on this very special day. As we kick off this program, I'd like to take a moment to recognize one of SVA's greatest champions and NatCon's presenting sponsor, Boeing. NatCon's affordable student registration is subsidized and made possible by their invaluable support. And they continue to support SVA headquarters and members all year round. Additionally, on behalf of SVA, I'd like to thank all of the wonderful partners and sponsors who you will be seeing showcased throughout the conference. Of course, being at the most magical place on earth, we are so grateful for the Walt Disney Company, our host and sponsor. Today, we have the honor of being joined by not one, but two cabinet members of the Biden-Harris administration. Shortly, we will welcome the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, the Honorable Dennis McDonough, as well as the Secretary of Education, the Honorable Dr. Miguel Cardona. And of course, before we leave here today, we will name new recipients of the SVA Chapter of the Year, Chapter Advisor of the Year, and Student Veteran of the Year. As always, we are going to be making a lot of memories today, so if you haven't already, please follow Student Veterans of America on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And don't forget to keep posting with hashtag NatCon 2023, hashtag WeAreSVA, and hashtag SVA Leads, so our speakers, panelists, and I can see and share your posts. It's another way to foster connections and stay engaged beyond the in-person experience. And of course, you're more than welcome to follow me at JG Hyder. Before we get started, I'd like to start the celebration of excellence by taking a moment to recognize the 2022 SVA Leadership Fellows. In October of 2022, SVA held its annual Leadership Institute in Washington, D.C., where the top student veterans from around the country were invited to spend multiple days experiencing the premier student leadership experience in the country. More than 100 chapter leaders were chosen during a rigorous selection process for what was widely described as the greatest leadership institute in the organization's history. For the first time ever, the foundational curriculum experience, which includes deep dives into values, delivering results, and building relationships, was joined by an entirely new advanced curriculum covering topics such as mental models, culture, building a team, and communication. In addition to all of the updated and original curriculum, which more than doubled the content experienced from years past, an entirely new Post-Leadership Institute experience was added. Each of the SVA Leadership Fellows, which is the title earned upon graduation from the Institute, leaves the event with a personal leadership mission statement, communication strategy, and action plan. They spent the time in between the Leadership Institute and NatCon learning from each other and their mentors as they executed these plans in the real world. There are no substitutes for real-world experiences, and there is no leadership development event that rivals that of the SVA Leadership Institute, where we are building the next greatest generation of American leadership. 2022 SVA Leadership Fellows, please stand. And now, if any SVA Leadership Fellows from any past years could also stand. Let's give a round of applause to the SVA Leadership Fellows. Thank you so much. You can be seated. And now, please welcome to the stage Student Veteran of the Year finalist, Anthony Ricito of Syracuse University.
Few remarks to find here. Before I get started, if I could just ask a quick favor for our social media team at home. Could I take a picture with everyone? If everyone just gives me a big thumbs up from the stage. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. You know, it's not every day that one has the honor of introducing someone at the highest levels of our government. But if there's one thing I've learned from my own service, and certainly being a chapter leader, it's to expect the unexpected. Today's first keynote speaker was appointed by the President with the advice and consent of the Senate. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs is invaluable to each and every single person in this room. And it's a privilege to have this honor to introduce the Honorable Dennis McDonough, the fact that he's taken time out of his busy day to Zoom into us. Before coming to the VA, the Honorable Dennis McDonough served as the 26th White House Chief of Staff and as the Principal Deputy National Security Advisor. He believes deeply, as he testified to Congress, there is no more sacred obligation nor noble undertaking than to uphold our promises to our veterans, whether they came home decades ago or days ago. Please join me as we turn our attention to the screens for remarks from the 11th Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough.
Good afternoon, and thanks for that warm welcome. I hope you've all enjoyed a peaceful and safe and revitalizing holiday season. I regret that I'm not with you in person there. I was sitting on a plane on the tarmac in Washington for a couple hours this morning, which made me just get off the plane and address you by Zoom. So thanks for your patience with me. Also, Miguel is going to brag that he got down there when I didn't, but please, give me a little bit of forbearance on that. A few weeks ago, I sat in the House chamber and I listened to President Zelensky address Congress and our country. It was a powerful speech, very memorable opportunity. And being here with you today, albeit by Zoom, each of you heroes in your own right, I'm reminded of a few lines from that speech. He told us, "Your well-being is the product of your national security, the result of your struggle for independence and your many victories. In other words, our country's peace and prosperity, our strength, well, that's all because of you, the veterans in that room and the veterans that came before you. America's vets, there's nobody better." Anthony, Sergeant Rashido, thanks for your kind introduction and more importantly for your courageous leadership in the Marines and now up at Syracuse. Garrett, good afternoon to you. Thanks once again for your kind invitation and for your own courageous service in the Navy and for leading this great organization. To all the award finalists, you're doing great work, taking care of each other, and so many people in your local communities. Congratulations on this recognition. And when you graduate and you're thinking about a career, think about a career serving your fellow vets at VA. We're hiring. Just stop by that VA hiring table in the room to learn more. And that's for all of you. Let me acknowledge so many from across SVA who've been working hard over the holidays and long before that, pulling together another spectacular convention, your 15th and counting. That's a hell of a milestone. So here's to 15 more. And let me just say to those courageous chapter members from the West Coast who flew to Texas but drove 15 hours to Florida, don't think less of me for not being able to get there today. SVA story is an admirable example of vets continuing to serve long after coming home. For 14 years now, you've been growing stronger and more united, marshaling resources, building support networks, advocating for vets with a trusted, respected voice at VA, among VSOs, and on the Hill and in state capitals around the country. I regret that I won't be able to meet with our courageous sheriff from Hennepin County today, an SVA alumnus himself, due to my travel, but he's just an example of the many things, the many examples of services that you're carrying out and that you're getting done. From 20 SVA chapters back in 2008 to over 1,500 chapters today, touching 250,000 student veterans every year, shaping on-campus services so vets can focus on excelling and leading, working with a loyal coalition of private and nonprofit partners, so many of them here with you today, to ensure vets get the knowledge and skills they need to continue their service. Shaping the GI Bill so 21st century vets have 21st century opportunities. And throughout all of this, holding us here at VA accountable to you. Let me emphasize that last point, holding VA accountable. Jarrett, that salty sailor, is not shy about it. Look, nobody knows what student vets and dependents and spouses using VA services, VA education services need better than SVA. And when it comes to delivering on the GI Bill, we're counting on you to continue to help us get it right. We're bringing the GI Bill itself into the 21st century, the digital GI Bill, a modern, integrated system. And soon we're rolling out the next piece, the enrollment manager. That'll help you avoid disrupting your spring enrollments. We heard your concerns about it, so we've postponed it. But when we do flip on that switch in a few months, Enrollment Manager will be another step closer to where we need to be for you. It's intuitive. The tool itself is intuitive for school certifying officials. They helped design and build it. It'll mean easier access to the information that they need to support you. It'll mean better claims processing and customer service for you. And it'll mean real-time info sharing between school certifying officials and VA, the kind of real-time info sharing that we need. The entire digital GI Bill, the entire modernization, like everything we do, is working to make programs fit into your lives. That's why all those clinicians are in the room with you today. We want to fit our programming into your life. We're not asking you to fit your life into our program. This is a principles-based upgrade, because when it comes to your GI Bill, you shouldn't have to worry about it. You shouldn't have to worry if you're going to get paid on time. You shouldn't have to worry about platforms talking to each other. You shouldn't have to worry about whether the next stipend comes in time for your monthly rent. You shouldn't have to worry about operating on a decades-old system that uses decades-old programming languages, which, to be honest with you, stopped being used in private sector machines before many of you were even born. So when it comes to any VA benefits and services, you shouldn't have to worry. Our duty is keeping you at the center of everything we do, leveraging lessons from what you've taught us about delivering better and better on the GI Bill, and implementing the GI Bill now for over 78 years. And there are good lessons. The GI Bills taught us that investing in vets pays enormous dividends to the country in economic prosperity, in intellectual capital, and honorable leadership from local communities to the highest offices. And implementing that first GI Bill, the Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944, taught us some ugly lessons too. Lessons that we're not going to forget. Failures that we won't repeat. When in 1944, President Roosevelt signed his first historic GI Bill, he reassured everybody it gives emphatic notice to the men and women in our armed forces that the American people do not intend to let them down. The American people do not intend to let them down. It's true, that first GI Bill helped most vets, 16 million vets, buy homes, get jobs, get training, get an education, transition back to a productive life at home. But here's what else is true. It helped most vets. And most vets isn't good enough. Our country failed 1 million black vets, men and women, both, at the local, state, and federal levels. After they finished fighting in Europe and the Pacific, black vets had to fight something as insidious as any enemy: racism. They had to fight for something too many take for granted still today: equity. Equity. And that fight's still raging. VA hasn't been immune. There have been unacceptable disparities in VA benefits decisions because of racism. And because of discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity. We're working to right these wrongs, to ensure we're combating institutional racism and discrimination rather than perpetuating it. Because when you signed up to serve, you made a promise. And we made, in return, a promise to you. If you fight for us, we'll fight for you. If you serve us, we'll serve you. If you take care of us, we'll take care of you when you come home. Now, our country as a whole makes that promise. But it's our job here at VA. It's our job to keep that promise to each and every one of you. And we've long failed to keep that sacred promise for Black vets, other vets of color, for LGBTQ plus vets. But in this administration, no vet is going to have to fight to get the quality care and benefits they've earned, no matter who they are, where they're from, or who they love. At VA, those fights are over. They're over. Let me just say a few words about another historic benefit, a benefit that many of you fought for and made possible for your battle buddies. I'm referring to new access to care and benefits for vets exposed to burn pits over the 30 years of war in CENTCOM. Many of you know from firsthand experience, while you were fighting for us, you breathed in toxic fumes from burn pits and other sources. You may have developed conditions that followed you home from war, conditions that impacted your lives months or years later, or that in some cases took the lives of those you served alongside, those you love. That's why on August 10th, President Biden signed this new benefit into law to expand VA health care and benefits for millions of toxic exposed vets and their survivors, including many of you in that room today. Here's what you need to know. First, apply for your benefits and care right now. A vet named Tim White fought 4 combat tours in Afghanistan between 2003 and 2008 with the Mississippi National Guard's 20th Special Forces Group. Now he's fighting allergic rhinitis. And Tim remembers what many of you do, working right alongside burn pits, spewing caustic black smoke into the air. It was everywhere, Tim remembers. The smell would permeate you. Last November, because of VA's new presumptives for toxic exposure, Tim's claim for allergic rhinitis was granted. Here's what else. Back in 2010, Tim was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He fought that back, and thank God he's in remission. Thanks to this new law, he's filing a claim for that now too, and he'll be covered. And that can change his life and his family's lives for the better. And since Tim's already enrolled in VA healthcare, he says he'll be getting his toxic exposure screening too. So if you're enrolled in VA healthcare like Tim, get enrolled. If you're not enrolled in VA healthcare like Tim, get enrolled today in one of the VA claims clinics in that room. And then after you're enrolled, join over 1 million other vets and get your toxic exposure screening. Apply for your benefits right now at the VA claims clinic, again in that room with you. And get your COVID vaccine, your booster, and your flu shots while you're there. Second, we started expediting burn pit and other toxic exposure-related claims for terminally ill vets on 12 December. Here's what I mean by expediting. A vet with a malignant brain tumor filed his claim on July 5. He got his decision 12 December. 100% retroactive to August 10th when President Biden signed that law because of his service in Iraq and Kuwait. A vet with prostate cancer filed on August 8th. The decision was made on December 12th, 100% based on his service in Afghanistan, retroactive to August 10th. A vet with pancreatic cancer filed on 17 August, 12 December, 100% based on his service in Iraq and Kuwait, retroactive to August 10th. We mean business with this new benefit. And on New Year's Day, we started processing claims for all vets and their survivors. Over 2,100 of those claims have been granted so far since Sunday. So get your claim in as soon as you can. Listen, if you apply before August 10th this year, 2023, the decisions will be backdated to August 10th last year, the day the president signed the law. Again, if you file your claim this year before August 10th, it will be effective back to August 10th last year. Third, I've heard that some vets worry about applying for these new benefits because it will impact their current benefits. The truth is that with this new law, you're 32 times more likely to have your benefits increase or stay the same than to see a decrease. Fourth, there are people who will try to convince you that somehow you should pay them or you should hire a lawyer to apply for VA benefits. It's not true. Applying is free, it's easy, and by working directly with VA or a VSO, a Veteran Service Organization, you can get your claim filed for free. Fifth, learn more about these new benefits and apply anytime by visiting va.gov/PACT, that's PACT, va.gov/PACT, or by calling 1-800-MY-VA-411. Join the nearly 280,000 vets and survivors who've already applied for their burn pit and toxic exposure-related care and benefits. This new benefit is about us keeping our promise to you, and we're going to deliver. Now, a few words in closing on this second anniversary of January 6th and on your place in our country's future. It was right about this time, 2 years ago, about 12:30 Eastern, that a mob of insurrectionists attacked our democracy and our Constitution. It was one of the darkest moments in our nation's history. Yet, thanks to the enormous courage of people who stepped up to defend the country when we needed it most, many of them veterans, who spilled their blood in brutal hand-to-hand battle to defend our Capitol and our Constitution. Vets like Staff Sergeant Brian Sicknick, who sacrificed his own life. Thanks to them, our democracy held. Thanks to them, and thanks to you, our democracy endures. Your NatCon theme this year is On the Shoulders of Giants. On the Shoulders of Giants. Our country needs you right now, more than ever, to be those giants. Our country needs you to be lifting up others as you always have on your broad shoulders. Our country needs what you learned in the military. That camaraderie, that togetherness, truth, true service, true patriotism, because we are all stronger when we are together, when we are one. And your good example teaches all Americans, reminds each of us what it really means to be an American. So I thank you. I thank you this day in particular. God bless you. God bless our vets, their families, our caregivers, and survivors. And may we always serve you as well as you have served this country. Thanks again for having me, guys. I appreciate you.
Please welcome to the stage the President and CEO of the Global War on Terrorism Memorial Foundation, Michael Rod Rodriguez.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. I'm incredibly humbled to be here amongst my hermanos y hermanas, my brothers and sisters. Truly, I have a unique opportunity and have the undeserved honor of being the CEO of the GWOT Memorial Foundation, but I will say I love starting my year at NatCon. This is my 4th year, and it keeps getting better. I don't know of a more dynamic, engaging group of veterans that is choosing to better themselves in the environment that they choose to better themselves in than you guys. So thank you for what you guys are doing. Really, a lot of you traveled very far. I'm sitting at a table with someone from Hawaii. I think it's pretty awesome. So thank you guys for being here. I'll tell you a little bit about the foundation. We were founded in 2015. Some like-minded veterans and family members came together to really begin the process to build a national war memorial in our nation's capital. Now, they recognized that it was necessary to start this process. As you can imagine, I try to frame what it is that we're doing is I want you to imagine the most incredibly complex building project you can imagine in the most controlled and expensive real estate in the country. Now add about 20 layers of bureaucracy and politics. That pretty much sums up what we do. We're tremendously humbled to do so. I joined the team in 2016, and to this date, in 2017, we passed our initial piece of legislation that authorized the building. There was a 10-year moratorium saying a memorial could not be built until a war was over. No one, when they wrote that law, could have forecasted we'd be in a multi-generational conflict with no end in sight. When I say multi-generational, what I mean is my son, my oldest son, who's currently serving the 82nd Airborne Division, his first memories are that of the towers falling on September 11th. When I watched my son, airborne infantryman in the 82nd Airborne Division, deploy to the Helmand province of Afghanistan to perform a very similar mission that I had performed some years prior, it was kind of a lightning strike moment for me. You know, I couldn't imagine what it would have been like for my father, who's a Vietnam veteran, to watch me go fight the Viet Cong, any more than I can imagine what my grandfather would have been like for him to watch my father go fight in the Nazis or serve in the Pacific. But that's our reality. And you guys are part of that population. I'm tremendously proud to be proud of that population, which is why I call you guys my brothers and sisters, hermanos y hermanas. So we passed that initial piece of legislation, and then with the help of SVA and several other VSOs, some of them are present here, we were able to pass another piece of legislation. I'm incredibly happy that President Biden signed just over a year ago, authorizing the construction of this memorial within the reserve. Now, for the layman, that's the area that you would consider the National Mall. No new building projects have been authorized since 2003, except us, except you. An initiative focused on serving and recognizing you. This is going to be the most broad, diverse, and inclusive war memorial to ever exist. We have 4 tenets that guide our mission, that keep us on azimuth. Honor. We're honoring everyone that served, every single one of you. While our most sacred stakeholders are our brothers and sisters who never came home, we're honoring everyone. As I mentioned previously, the most challenging deployment for me weren't the 10 that I did, it was watching my son step into harm's way. We're recognizing the family. Additionally, we're recognizing everybody. Right now, we have men and women, and have had men and women serving wartime missions, performing a wartime role that were not in uniform. In 2019, the Department of Labor did studies trying to find how many non-uniformed individuals have lost their lives in the global war on terrorism. Are we over 7,000 KIAs, depending on the statistic you read? We over 3,400 individuals lost. Everybody that serves. Every one of you who stepped foot on a battlefield served alongside someone who was not in uniform. They're still our family, our familia. We will honor their service and sacrifice. We're going to honor everyone. We're going to heal as a nation, our second tenet. Any one of you who has served, any one of you who stepped into the battle space understands that it comes home with you. Sometimes it's a little obvious, it's written on your face, but then other times it's hidden, the hidden injuries, the war at home. You know, each of us has our own, whatever we want to define it as. War's gonna come home. I don't think it hurt me or changed me in any negative way, nor do I think it has changed any of you in any negative way, otherwise you would not be here. We're going to heal relationships, heal this nation, heal each other, honor, heal, empower. We're going to talk about you. I'm going to tell your story whether you want me to or not. I really am. Because unfortunately, I want you guys to stop diminishing your service. If you remember anything I say over the 6 minutes they've given me, I want you to stop diminishing your service. Nothing drives me more nuts when I meet a fellow veteran and they tell me, Rod, I only just, and then they tell me what they did. Stop doing that. I'm going to tell your story. In the early days of the foundation, those that were pushing back the most was you, was a veteran community. None of you raised your right hand and said the same words that I did many years ago for any self-aggrandizement, accolades, or we darn sure didn't do it for the money, right? But I'm going to tell your story. I'm going to tell the story of this nation and how we've fought this multi-generational war, the longest war in our nation's history. Honor, heal, empower, unite. We're going to remind this nation what makes us so great. That's captured in this room right now. Those to your left and right, those sitting across from you, those that you've been able to talk to day before yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You represent the greater population of this nation. And we're going to unite. That's what brings you together. Everybody remembers how we felt on September 11th, as well as how we remember we felt on September 12th. Each of you captures that. You embody it, and you live it every single day. I work for you. I will continue to work for you, and I'm going to continue to fight for you to ensure that your service, sacrifice, continued service, continued leadership is going to be recognized. As long as this nation is around, so will this memorial, and so will this foundation, and we will always tell your stories. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the conference. I'm truly humbled to be here. Gracias and Godspeed.
Too slow. Next up, we have one of my favorite awards of the year. I am happy to turn to the finalists for SVA Chapter Advisor of the Year. They are more than mentors and more than influencers on campus. They are the catalyst for success, not only for an individual, but for an entire chapter, and often for the student veteran population at large. This award recognizes the incredible mentorship, service, and advocacy of a campus staff or faculty member who serves as an SVA chapter advisor. The Chapter Advisor of the Year Award symbolizes the chapter advisor's dedication to ensuring student veterans on their campus have a healthy, thriving, and supportive SVA chapter for years to come. It represents a record of working with both the SVA chapter and campus leadership in supporting and empowering student veterans. The Chapter Advisor of the Year is someone seen by student veterans on their campus as a mentor, coach, and advocate. They provide guidance to student veterans on how to operate effectively within the university, as well as nurture and support the chapter, providing continuity through leadership changes. This person engages with campus faculty, staff, and administration, and helps them see how student veterans and the chapters are assets to their campus and community. Please come to the stage as I call your name. The finalists are Migdalis Berrios, Augusta Technical College; Denny Cosmo, Bristol Community College; Ashley Drake, Texas A&M University College Station; Alex Perilla, Loyola University, and Jill Wolfe, Grand Valley State University. Another round of applause for our nominees. And the 2022 Chapter Advisor of the Year is Jill Wolfe, Grand Valley State University. Jill has dedicated her time as an SVA Chapter Advisor, advocating for student veterans and military-connected students, showcasing their unique contributions to her own campus and others across Michigan. A quote from her nomination sums up Jill's efforts. "She is the reason I am still enrolled in school and alive." Congratulations, Jill.
Ooh, wow, thank you very much. I want to say thank you first to SVA, to Cameron Zibikowski, to Abby Kinch, to Jared Lyon, who has shown us all that even nerds and goofballs can accomplish great things when we put our minds to it. I want to thank Grand Valley State University, specifically President Mantella, who saw something special in me when I couldn't see it in myself. So thank you. I want to thank Laker vets, my students, specifically Enrique Leon, who was brave enough to fight through depression, anxiety, long enough to stay alive and nominate me for this award. Thank you. So many of us, for a really long time, have identified as warriors, as survivors. And I want to suggest today that maybe we start identifying as something new, as an inspiration. Because for all of us that have ever been on campus and felt like we didn't belong, like we weren't supposed to be there on that campus or in that classroom, we have a new battle to fight. And I would offer that your superpower isn't your shield, your superpower isn't your sword, it's your truth. So go out there and lead with it. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Student Veteran of the Year finalists, Sumaya Muhammad of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. I really appreciate that. Can I just shout out for my Marines? Where's my Marines in the room? There we go. Sorry. So a lot of the members over here at my chapter, they've been really amazing to me in making sure that I am able to try to change the culture where I am. So for them, I want to say thank you. As a student veteran, it is a surreal moment in my academic career, as well as a privilege to introduce the U.S. Secretary of Education, the Honorable Dr. Miguel Cardona. Dr. Cardona was sworn in as the 12th Secretary of Education on March 2nd, 2021. He previously served as the Commissioner of Education in Connecticut, a position held after being appointed by Governor Ned Lamont in August of 2019. In this position, he faced unprecedented challenge of responding to the COVID-19 pandemic and led the Safe School reopening efforts in Connecticut. Secretary Cardona has 2 decades of experience as a public school educator from the city of Meriden, Connecticut. He began his career as an elementary school teacher, then served as a school principal in Meriden in 2003, where he led a school with outstanding programming for 3 to 5-year-old students that were bilingual and students with sensory exceptionalities. He proudly served in this role for 10 years. In 2012, Dr. Cardona won the 2012 National Distinguished Principal Award for the state of Connecticut and the Outstanding Administrator Award from UConn's NEAG School of Education. His focus on equity and excellence for all learners has driven Secretary Cardona's work at all levels. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Miguel Cardona.
How we doing? All right, that's a lot. Where's the loud table? Which one is it? Oh, over here? All right. Thank you, Samaya, for the introduction, but more importantly, for your service. I'm thrilled to be here, the student veterans of America. All of you who've served our country with honor and with courage, you're a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure. That's in large part to the wonderful leadership and partnership of your president and CEO, Jared Lyon. Where are you, Jared? Jared's here. I know he's here. Jared, where are you? There he is. Jared, look, happy to be here, but the partnership between Jared, SVA, and the United States Department of Education is solid. He's been to the department, sharing your perspective, your concerns, your needs. He's advocated exceptionally well, and I'm proud to say that we have a strong partnership with SVA. I also want to recognize Secretary Dennis McDonough. Although he's not here today, I know the passion that he has to serve also in VA. Just yesterday, Secretary McDonough and I were leaving the cabinet meeting at the White House, and we were talking in front of the White House about how excited we were to be here today together. And this extends beyond just today's event, but really the partnership that we need to have to raise the bar on how we're serving you. Secretary McDonough and I are colleagues in that, and very passionate about continuing to improve the work that we're doing to serve you. When we talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, we often talk about the people who paved the way for us. Earlier today, I met a group of Student Veteran of the Year finalists. And I have to tell you, we have a lot of giants in the making here today. Service members who became students who became leaders who made a real difference in the lives of other fellow veterans. Leaders like Jen Martinez, a Marine. Where are you, Jen? All right, there she is. Jen is a Marine studying at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. She not only leads the campus Rebel Vets, but also finds time to be a veterans peer advisor, helping others find their way. Jen says that back in her ROTC program, she had a Marine instructor who told her that people in the military take care of people around them. And you should aspire to take care of the people around you. That's what Student Veterans of America is all about. When I spoke to the finalists in the room a little while ago, maybe an hour and a half ago, I shared with them what I'm sharing with you today. You are all, each of yourselves, greatest resource. You are the greatest resource to one another, and you can support one another exceptionally well. I want to give a shout out to members of my protective service detail. Many of them are service members as well. And I learned a little while ago that one of the lead members was also an SVA mentor when he was a student. Shout out to him. Thanks in large part to your advocacy, the Department of Education has taken major steps that will help more veterans enroll in college, complete their degrees, and pursue their dreams. SVA advocates were instrumental in the Biden-Harris team's efforts to close a loophole that for too long allowed for-profit colleges to prey on veterans and their benefits. Too often, the Wall Street-backed for-profit colleges see students like you, not in terms of stars and stripes, but dollar signs and bottom lines. Last summer, I spoke to a veteran named Tasha. She was targeted by one of the most notorious for-profit schools. Tasha was sold on false promises of a career in criminal justice. That was her dream. But after graduation day, she found herself tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and with a degree that employers said wasn't worth its weight on paper. That's unacceptable. That's why we're making this loophole ancient history. When our new rules take effect this summer, we'll be able to better protect veterans from these shady schemes, much like you have protected us from shady regimes. And for those who are taken advantage of, we've approved $14.5 billion in debt relief for 1.1 million students who were cheated by their colleges. As a result, veterans like Tasha are now debt-free. And we're taking additional steps to hold dishonest schools accountable, protect future students from abuse, and name and shame the worst offenders in higher education. We've also taken bold action to ensure that veterans get credit for their service toward public service loan forgiveness, or PSLF. That was a system that was broken when we came in a couple years ago. And it's unfortunate because veterans could have benefited from that program. Before President Biden took office, only 7,000 public servants ever managed to qualify for loan forgiveness. Only 7,000. Today, 360,000 veterans, teachers, nurses, and other public servants have qualified for over $24 billion in student debt relief. We recently simplified the process for those who qualify for total and permanent relief and debt discharge due to disabilities. We streamlined that process so another $14 billion in debt relief was made possible without unnecessary loopholes and paperwork, thanks to the input from members of SVA as well. Recently, we announced permanent changes to make sure all time spent with loans in military-related deferments or forbearance count toward forgiveness. That's a big deal because before that, the deferments wouldn't count toward time, toward debt relief. Now they do. So what was happening was we had a lot of these loan servicers telling veterans to put their loans in deferment, and those wouldn't count toward debt relief. And when they came back, they were surprised to find that they have to continue to pay for more years. Well, what we did in the last year and a half, we counted those months in deferment toward debt forgiveness so that public service loan forgiveness can be applied earlier. We're fixing a broken system to make it work for you. Anyone who served our country in uniform deserves better than a lifetime of student loan debt. I know many of you are jumping back into school after a long time. And as I heard from the veterans earlier today, it isn't easy. The transition is not easy, especially when so many of you are juggling work, school, family. But I've seen firsthand what it means for a college to step up to support veterans. Colleges like Austin Community College in Texas, where military-connected students have access to a 4,000 square foot Veterans Resource Center, where they can get academic advising, help, certifying benefits, and connect with other vets on campus. All veterans deserve inclusive, supportive learning environments and campus cultures that embrace the beautiful diversity of our armed forces. I'm here to say the Biden-Harris administration will always have your back. The First Family understands, on a deeply personal level, the sacrifices our service members and their families make every single day. They continue to champion your needs and the needs of your families and caregivers through the Joining Forces initiatives. And the Department of Education will continue to invest in programs to promote your success in college and beyond. President Biden always says that veterans represent the best of the American spirit. Taking care of people around you, that's who you are. And thanks to the efforts of the giants here with us today, future generations of military-connected students will reach higher than ever before. I sincerely and deeply want to thank you for your service to our country. And I want to let you know that the Department of Education will continue to work harder to raise the bar on ourselves, hold ourselves accountable to make sure we're supporting you in your endeavors in higher education and making sure that our military-connected families in our pre-K-12 system have the support that they need to continue to thrive. I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your leadership. God bless you and God bless our troops. Thank you very much. Thank you.
At the core of SVA's mission is programming like regional summits, the Leadership Institute, Washington Week, NatCon, and services such as the My SVA app, Career Center, and Liaison Program. But across these wide-reaching offerings, an undertaking of this magnitude cannot occur in a vacuum. It takes passion, vision, and support from giants of industry who realize that investing in student veterans means investing in the future of America. It is for this reason that I am honored and grateful to present the SVA Partners in Excellence Awards. These awards recognize partners who integrate the mission of SVA into their work, championing student veterans above and beyond their own call of duty. SVA's growth and successes would not be possible without these devoted teams who prioritize the well-being and opportunities of student veterans across the globe. This year's SVA Partners in Excellence Awards go to Boeing, Comcast NBC Universal, and you may come onto the stage as we announce your names if you're here, the representatives. Fiserv, Hiring Our Heroes, LinkedIn, Microsoft, Prudential Financial, PwC Charitable Foundation, Raytheon Technologies, the Walt Disney Company, and the Wounded Warrior Project. Please give a warm round of applause to these stellar partners as they each come up, accept their award, and take a photo. Congratulations and our heartfelt thanks to all. And here to present the, we now turn to the Daniel J. Edelman Corporate Champion of the Year Award. And here to present the award is our very own Jared Lyon.
SVA has only a handful of named awards. When you name an award, it's an opportunity to honor those that have come before us. An excellent example of that as it pertains to corporate partnership is the next namesake for our award for the Daniel J. Edelman Corporate Champion of the Year Award. This award is presented each year in honor of Daniel J. Edelman. Daniel J. Edelman did an undergraduate and a graduate degree in New York City before then going on to serve in the Army during World War II in psychological operations. And when we return home, he'd return to the Midwest, where he's from, and raise a beautiful family while founding a company that today helps make the household names that we're all aware of more knowable. Of course, talking about the company Edelman. We're really fortunate that Edelman has been a longtime partner of Student Veterans of America. And more than that, Edelman literally helped in SVA's early strategic planning processes when we met at their headquarters office in Chicago, Illinois, at this point, 8 years ago almost. And throughout all of these processes, we've had an opportunity to never actually have known Daniel J. Edelman because he passed before our involvement with SVA. But we're extremely fortunate to know his son. And at this point, I would like to invite John Edelman to the stage, who serves on your National Board of Directors. John, would you mind joining me on stage to help present the award? And in honor of John's father, could we give him a round of applause? All right, John, are you ready? Okay, we're going to do this together, award show style. We've rehearsed it many times. But our 2022 Daniel J. Edelman Corporate Champion of the Year is Boeing.
Thank you both, and good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here with so many fellow veterans, educators, and advocates for Student Veterans of America's 15th Annual NatCon. My name is Linwood Ham, and I have my dream job. Gosh, I wish I had bet someone $20 because I think I'm about to cry. I spent a 10-year journey looking for an opportunity at the Boeing Company. And I did a lot of things after I retired from the U.S. Army in 2012 that I think prepared me, go Army, that prepared me for the opportunity to become Boeing's next Director of Military and Veteran Affairs. I'm humbled and honored to receive this distinguished award on behalf of the company. I've been at Boeing for 2 months, so I clearly have done very little to contribute. So I'm going to ask some of my friends to stand up. Megan Bunce. Ingrid Morales. And some of you know this fine gentleman who works diligently with SVA, mentoring some of you, Richard Delgado. As well, we have colleagues from our talent acquisition and military recruitment team led by Justin Walker, who are with us here, looking for the very best of the best to come join us at the Boeing Company. I said this was my dream job. I get to work at an iconic American company helping veterans, military members, and their families, and all of you. At Boeing, we often say veterans make us better, and we truly believe it. With nearly 20,000 veterans among our ranks, we see the value you and your family members bring to our company each and every day. We build state-of-the-art products. As a VP told me as I was new in the job like Linwood, be clear, we make airplanes, we make stuff. But we've been reminded yesterday by Secretary of Defense, former Secretary of Defense Hagel, and then Secretary of Veterans Affairs McDonough. Those things are important, but people matter, and all of you matter. So the Boeing Company is honored to contribute to your pursuit, your continued pursuit to serve your families, your communities, and this fine nation. We know you're pursuing degrees and skills at Boeing, and Boeing is seeking to hire you because you are preparing to serve in the aerospace industry. This is why over the past several years we've invested over $60 million in military and veteran workforce development and wellness initiatives throughout the globe, to include our growing partnership with SVA. As mentioned earlier, we proudly announced a $3 million grant for SVA to equip your chapters with leadership training, equity, inclusion, best practices so that you have the most vigorous college experience while graduating ready to thrive and find purpose in your next mission. I just want to thank everyone for your participation today. Again, on behalf of the Boeing Company, we thank you for this honor, and we can't wait to continue to work with you in the development of you and everyone who passes on. Thank you.
Jared's changing things up again.
On the fly. So I have some very exciting news that I wanted to share with John on the stage. So John Edelman has, we would like to now publicly announce, has created the Edelman Scholars Scholarship. This is going to be two $10,000 scholarships to student veterans pursuing a career in mental behavioral health. This will be our first, thank you. Mind if I share your mom's story? Can I share your mom's story? Sure. So this is unique. So John helped us create the Daniel J. Edelman Award for our corporate champions because his father was a World War II veteran. But what is not often as well known is that John's mother had a mental health condition and was actually one of the first Americans to ever testify in Congress on behavioral mental health in the 70s. And so this new scholarship will go towards the critical need of ensuring more veterans with lived experience and cultural competency are empowered to join the mental and behavioral health field. So thanks to John Edelman and the new Edelman Scholars Scholarship. So thank you.
Thank you, Jared. And Jared told a great story about Mom. She was an advocate, and that's getting the support that you need is the key. First is the recognition, then getting the support that you need. And she lived a productive life to 85. And so the purpose of this scholarship is to get more support for people that need it and really help grow and build opportunities through this scholarship. So it's an honor to be able to support this and be able to support the community however we can in this area. Thank you.
You are able to apply for these scholarships through your My SVA app, and that is active immediately. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much to Mr. Edelman and to Linwood Ham and the incomparable team at Boeing for empowering student veterans. And now we're moving on to one of the crowd's favorite awards for the day. I'd like to call to the stage last year's Chapter of the Year recipient, the Georgetown University Student Veterans Association, led by current SVA board member, Dr. Nick Mararak, to present the award for the 2022 SVA Chapter of the Year.
Student Veteran of America's Chapter of the Year Award honors the tradition of peer support, collaboration, and advocacy. This award acknowledges a chapter that that embodies SVA's mission to provide the resources, support, and advocacy student veterans need for success to, through, and beyond higher education. It represents the chapter's effort in empowering its members and creating positive change both on its campus and within their local, regional, or national community. The Chapter of the Year defines a thriving SVA chapter. This chapter supports and empowers its membership and helps their personal, professional, and academic development. They collaborate with campus leaders to continually improve, support, and serve future student veterans. Chapter leaders recognize the importance of cultivating and including members for future leadership to ensure the chapter will be better for its successors. It is a pillar on their campus, actively engaging with the campus community for the benefit of all students and the surrounding community. The finalists are, in alphabetical order, Bowling Green Student Veterans of America, Bowling Green State University. As I mention the names of each university, please come to the stage. So Bowling Green University. Thank you. Student Veterans of America at Fordham, Fordham University. Student Veterans of America at Texas A&M. Texas A&M University College Station, please come to the stage. Student Veterans Association, University of South Carolina. And Veterans Association at USC, University of Southern California. And the 2022 Chapter of the Year is Student Veterans Association, University of South Carolina. While the chapter makes their way to the stage, I'd like to share a little more about this exceptional group. So please, if you're from University of South Carolina, or Southern California, University of South Carolina, please come to the stage. This is why we shouldn't always use acronyms. Even though the SVA chapter at the University of South Carolina is relatively new, they operate as though they've been around for decades. They function with the highest morals and principles, showing an open door to anyone who needs or wants to be a part. Though small, the chapter has made a deep and lasting impact on the lives of its members, providing a space for them to relax with people with shared experiences, providing a group where students can find camaraderie, and providing opportunities to experience campus life with other veterans and to celebrate not only their veteran experience, but also their other identities. The chapter leaders that run the SVA chapter at University of South Carolina have committed time and energy to making the chapter and the campus better for the next group that follows.
go in front of the camera?
We all do it, girl. It's fine.
I haven't been in SVA that long, and I think I've talked to a lot of different people here. I actually met with some people yesterday. They asked me, like, what's your story? Like, how did I get to the point that I'm at right now? And I honestly can't say that I did it on my own. I didn't do it on my own. I met all of these people at a time when I had just moved from Japan without my husband across, the entire country. My husband is still serving in the Navy, the best. The best. But they came to me at a time when I had nothing. So, I really can't accept this award just by myself. And I have to thank Jody. Out of everyone here, Jody is the true SVA president, and she is the one who made us to where we are now. So, Jody, thank you so much for getting us to where we are. And I would not be in SVA. I wouldn't have made it to the Leadership Institute. I wouldn't have gotten anything had it not been for her. So thank you so much.
Just real quickly, I just want to push out the message when we're saying we're standing on the shoulders of giants. When I came to the University of South Carolina, we had our fearless leaders in the SVA were Jared Evans, Brooks Herring, Candace Terry, who have done endless amounts of work to make USC the #1 school for military and veteran, and to get us all the resources and funding and everything that we have gotten today. They built the foundation that we are on. And so I want to say that this award is definitely because of them. So thank you to the giants that have gone before us.
Congratulations. That just cost me another $20. I am now thrilled to award the next recipient of the William Pearson Tolley Champion for Veterans in Higher Education Award. It is an award that recognizes a university, college, or an individual that has improved higher education for student veterans. This may be brought through an exceptional commitment to improving institutions, providing better and more welcoming learning environments for student veterans, building opportunities for student veterans in the life cycle of veteran education, or for other activities of significant and enduring impact, including through advocacy, public policy, service, research, or other activities directly related to higher education and veterans. On behalf of SVA, I am so pleased to present the William Pearson Tolley Champion for Veterans in Higher Education to the University of South Carolina. The University of South Carolina was named the top school for veterans by the Military Times, and although rankings are impressive, we see them back that up day after day. In 2021, the university opened their Veterans Center in the heart of campus, and that has catalyzed efforts to support veterans and military-connected students. They have pushed for veteran inclusion and recognized the positive impact veterans have on their campus, actively recruiting veterans to see an increase in veteran enrollment by 27% over the last 4 years. Good job. That's a great thing. Their vet center has conference rooms, study rooms, a lounge, a canteen, and a closet full of professional attire for people who need it. USC partners with employers who provide job opportunities for veterans, and some of those employers also help veterans with their job application process. The school was also able to partner with the SVA chapter on campus to make a substantial donation to one of their partners in the Columbia area. Friends of Fisher House is a nonprofit charity in Columbia that provides homes away from home to veterans. It allows families the comfort of staying closer to veterans who may have fallen ill and are unable to care for themselves. Congratulations again to the University of South Carolina.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? It is an incredible honor to be here with you this afternoon to receive this prestigious award on behalf of the University of South Carolina, President Amaritas and Provost Arnett. For those of you who don't know much about USC, the real USC, I had to get that in there. We are the flagship university of the state with more than 400,000 veterans and 8 military installations. And 4 years ago, university leadership made a very intentional decision to create a Department of Veterans and Military Affairs with the goal of overseeing and implementing a university-wide strategy aimed at supporting and serving our entire military-affiliated student population. And since then, we've passed a lot of very significant policy and process changes. We opened our Veteran and Military Center of Excellence, which I can't emphasize enough the impact that has had on us as an institution. It has fundamentally transformed the way we interact and engage with our entire veteran and military student population. And I think that's the result of, when you hear about the increase in enrollment, that's directly related to the investment that leadership has made over the last 4 years. It's crazy to think that 5 years ago we didn't even have a department, and myself as the chapter advisor and the student veterans you heard about from Jody and Alexis, we were paying out of pocket to come to NatCon or relying on alumni and donations to make the trip. And when people ask us, how did you make this turn as a university in a 4-year window of time, it's almost poetic when you think about the theme of standing on the shoulders of giants, because it was the student veterans that you heard about going back to 2016, 2015, who were unapologetically committed to excellence. And they were passionate about leaving the university better than they found it. And they, without a doubt, 100% completed that mission. And so it is because of them that we are the university we are today, and are doing everything we can to enhance our commitment to support and serve our entire military-affiliated student population. And it was those student veterans coming to NatCon and meeting Jared and the SVA leadership team and student veterans from around the country, where they received the tools and the resources and the encouragement and the empowerment and the vision to bring everything they learned at NatCon back to campus in Columbia, South Carolina, and implement those changes for good. So to Jared and the entire SVA leadership team, the board of directors, thank you for what you do. Thank you for your leadership, your advocacy. You're making an impact on thousands of student veterans' lives around this country. And we at the University of South Carolina are a direct result of your work and your advocacy. So thank you again for this incredible recognition. It's an incredible honor. We're just very humbled by this recognition. So I hope everyone has an incredible rest of the conference, and thank you.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. SVA's highest honor, Student Veteran of the Year. I'd like to call to the stage last year's Student Veteran of the Year recipient, Catherine Martinez, to present the award for 2022 Student Veteran of the Year.
Oh man, I'm looking for the notes. From hundreds of impactful finalists, there are only 10 finalists named today, who you will see throughout this conference, each deserving celebration and our gratitude. While there is only one Student Veteran of the Year, each finalist truly embodies excellence, not only defining the most aspirational qualities in themselves, but inspiring them and others as well. As I call your name, please make your way to the stage. Robert Geip, Iowa State University. Joshua Jones, Loyola University, Chicago. Jen Martinez, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Samaya Muhammad, Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Silky No, University of Southern California. Anthony Rosito, Syracuse University. Gregory Sanchez, University of California, Riverside. Tracy Santos, University of Rhode Island. Kyle Schrader, New York University. And Alexis Smith, University of South Carolina. Awesome. The Student Veteran of the Year Award recognizing outstanding leadership by a student veteran during the past year. This award represents the very best of the student veteran community and the epitome of character, scholarship, and accomplishments among today's student veterans. The 2022 Student Veteran of the Year is Joshua Jones of Loyola University, Chicago. Round of applause for all of our finalists and Student Veteran of the Year. Thank you to our finalists. So I'd like to pass the torch by sharing more information about Josh. Josh joined the United States Marine Corps with an eye on higher education. Now that he's here, his goals are to excel academically and create a community that fosters relationships between veterans at Loyola and the greater community. In the fall of 2021, Jones began serving as a chapter president of Student Veterans of America, Loyola Chicago. Since then, he has grown the chapter from a social club with only 2 members to an organization of over 30 members who are focused on guiding veterans through higher education and providing professional opportunities. Under his leadership, SVA Loyola has had a track record of firsts. Some examples of these initiatives include spearheading the first ever student-initiated Student Veteran Career Fair in Illinois, the first Student Veteran Panel at the 2022 American Legion National Conference, and the first Loyola University student veterans to attend SVA Leadership Institute. Entering his position as president, there were no bylaws. The chapter experienced low engagement, and they had no relationships with campus partners. Jones's goal since taking over was to leave Loyola SVA and the Chicagoland community better than he found it, and he is doing exactly that. His dedication to his chapter and to his campus, to his community, has earned him the title of Student Veteran of the Year. Congratulations, Josh. The floor is yours.
All right, first thing I want to say is hi, Mom. How's it going? Also, I want to say thank you so much for this honor. If all the finalists would also stand up again and give them a round of applause. All right, so thank you for everyone that supported my mission in leading student veterans into gainful employment. I want to thank you, SVA National, Jared Lyon, and his board of staff and everything. As well as my chapter, SVA Loyola, right here. I also want to thank all the sponsors that have made NatCon possible and have continued to support student veterans around the nation. Thank you.
Congratulations, Josh. You are extremely inspiring. Let's give Josh one more round of applause. How about that? Well, with that award, that concludes our luncheon today. Congratulations to all of the awe-inspiring finalists and recipients. No matter how many times that I host SVA Honors, 7, I leave here full of gratitude and hope for the bright lights in this room and across the more than 1,500 chapters nationwide. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love my time here, and I can never quite believe when it comes to an end. But there is still so much more of the conference for you to enjoy. Case in point, we've got more breakout sessions coming up at 3 p.m. And first, if you'd like to meet Jared and I for a photo, we'll head over to the SVA campus directly following this. Have a great conference. Thanks so much for having me.
NatCon attendees, thank you for joining us at the 15th Annual SVA Honors Luncheon sponsored by Boeing. Breakout sessions continue next at 3 p.m. following a campus breakout. Pictures with Jared Lyon and Jamie Gray Hyder are available in the SVA campus. Tomorrow morning, the Remembrance Run, Wear Blue to Run to Remember, and it begins at 7 a.m. at Casitas Courtyard, followed by breakfast between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the SVA campus. And 10 a.m. we start our breakout sessions. Then join us for the closing general session at 3 p.m. and the second annual National Student Veteran Ball at 7 p.m. You have a full schedule ahead of you. Make sure to check the NatCon 2023 mobile app for updates. Thank you and have a fantastically magical afternoon.